guys, and welcome to the High Vibe channel. I am your astrologer. My name is Nell, and we're going to talk about Gemini risings today. So excited. This is actually my natal placement, for those of you who are wondering. And so, super excited for this installment in my new series, the Rising Sign series. For those of you who may not be aware, we've already covered sun signs. We've covered moon signs on the channel. So if you're curious about the sun or moon in your chart, in a loved one's chart, in a celebrity's chart, you just want to get to know the zodiac wheel, go ahead and watch those videos over there. They've gotten some really great reviews, lots of really informative discourse going on in the comment sections. But today we're going to do Gemini risings. Now, my goal for these videos is to keep it under 20 minutes because I'm not trying to bore y'all, and I'm trying to make sure, the videos are nice and concise. With that being said, we're going to cover the most influential angles in a birth chart. Okay, so we're not going to go through each house, but I do want to kind of talk to you guys about why we're sitting here having this conversation about rising signs and birth charts and what's the significance. So let's start there. So I'll just show you. Birth chart is a 360-degree wheel. It's cut up into 12 different sectors that cover 30 degrees each. Each of those sectors are called houses. Each house is ruled by a particular zodiac sign. Within the Gemini risings chart, all that means is that Gemini was the sign on the horizon upon your time of birth, okay? And so that gives us the chart's orientation. We're going to go over the first house, fourth house, seventh house, and 10th house of this chart in order to get a little bit of an idea of just the overall personality layout of what energies are available, more readily available to a Gemini rising person. So I like to kind of liken a birth chart to a map or a clock, because essentially what it does is it shows us, well, first of all, it's a snapshot of the sky upon your inception. So in that way, it's like a timestamp. It shows us what energies were at bay upon your welcome into the world, right? So that helps us to understand not only where you are, where society is upon your time of birth, where major planets are at your time of birth to kind of inform what the landscape is that you're moving throughout, but also where we call personal planets are that kind of speak more to your personality, your lifestyle, right? Your disposition, things like that. And so it's also a clock because it's literally a fucking clock. And so astrologers use these maps, right, to help you understand where the landmarks are in your chart, where the energies are most readily available to you, and what time it is, right? When it's probably best that you lean this way or lean that way, or in terms of self-development, because that's what I'm all about, self-development and mastery over here on the High Vibe. All right. Okay, without further ado, we're about 3 minutes in, so let's get started. Of course, for the Gemini rising, that first house falls into the sign of Gemini. Now, Gemini energy, well, first of all, first house is about personality. It's like your first impression. It's what people see when they first get to know you, or when they're first introduced to your energy, or like just upon entering a room with you in it. What's the vibe, right? What's your vibe? And so putting Gemini there makes you just a lively person. It's like Gemini can be seen as mental and also energy of communication. Geminis just can't wait to tell you what they know. They can't wait to talk about things, to gather opinions of others so that they can add more into their mental Rolodex to contemplate over, to get closer to the truth of it all. And so we tend to be chatty type of people. Y'all know I'm talking real fast. A lot of people love my channel because I have that Gemini delivery. I'm talking to you about really high level knowledge and bringing it down to a really down to earth, perspective. And but I'm giving you the meat of it. I'm getting the guesswork out of there, and I'm just telling you what it is, but I'm also giving you things to think about, right? Stuff that's going to satiate your mind and give you something to chew on until the next time that you come back. It's very Gemini. We tend to be quick-witted people, curious, sociable. We can pretty much talk to anybody. Now, I don't like small talk personally. That might just be indicative of some of the other planets in my chart and how the signs kind of break down and synthesize. But people want to talk to me, honey. Do they want to? I have heard so many life stories that I didn't ask for. Do you understand? Because I'm very adaptable. Regardless of who it is that I'm talking to, I can find something to connect with you on. I can adapt to your vibe, right? And so it can come off a little two-faced. Like, I know that certain people in certain situations are like, you don't talk to me like that. That's because you're not them. They're not you. You know what I mean? Like, make it make sense. We, in my mind, are like the great equalizers. We can meet you exactly where you are and give you exactly what it is that you need, again, to get that much closer to the truth. Now, I'm not saying that we know the truth of all things. We can seem like enigmas, moving, personified, walking, breathing enigmas, because we are. But is that not the nature of our universe? Clock it. Okay, so we can appear to be very, very youthful. I do not look my age. Honey, I get carded everywhere I go. Just like, and I'm also all of 5 feet. So, like, I don't know. It gives to that, like, fairy, like, energy. If you read up on Gemini rising energy or even Gemini energy, a lot of times people say, we get fairy energies. It's like little cutesy people who just come around and get on your shoulder and talk to you a little bit and give you what you need, and then we fly away. That's really what it is, though. We can be youthful. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm getting a call. We can tend to be a little more witty. How do I? Okay. We can tend to be more witty, very lively and expressive. I noticed that, say for instance, if I have a group of friends and I tend to be more excitable around them, and then I'm just not feeling it that day. It doesn't mean anybody did anything wrong. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just not feeling it that day. Personal, whatever. Woke up on the wrong side of bed, can't wait to go back to bed, don't really want to be here, whatever. If I don't have that expressive communication, people think something is wrong. Like, they think something is wrong. And I'm like, can I not just be a human with dynamic personality traits? And, like, do I always have to be on for y'all? But it's because when you're on, you're so fucking on. What are you on? And it's nothing. I'm drinking a little wine, little libations. It's mixed with cranberry juice. It's not even, I cut the shit, okay? I don't know what to tell y'all. So, but we can be restless, easily bored, very easily bored, seeking mental stimulation at all times. So if things are getting a little too boring, yeah, I might be the drama. It's going to be real lighthearted and real harmless. And if anything, the drama, this is me personally. I'm going to tell y'all. For me, I'm 8th house heavy. So the drama be, look at yourself. That's the drama. Look at you. Look at you and look at you. Figure that out. That be the drama. If I'm not trying to be on that, I just adapt to your personality. We keep shit pushing. I don't take anything too deep or too personally or think too hard into what you know or don't know. The shit you talking about, or you get what I'm saying? I'll just be the lighthearted version. But if I want to cause chaos, all I have to do is be a mirror. And people get, when I tell you that'll set a demon off so hard. Gemini risings know what I'm talking about. All right, moving on to the 4th house. Now, 1st house is personality. It's how people see you. It's your front door. So they like, whoa, this is a lively, young, okay, they expressive. They got the lightning bolt. That's their symbol, is lightning bolt or whatever. When you get down to the 4th house is your early childhood, your foundation, your psychological foundation. It's how you were parented, and so it's how you parent yourself. It's the tools that you were born with, or that you were nurtured with. And so that's in Virgo. Let's get into it. Now, Virgo energy, if y'all know anything about the zodiac, Virgo is the really, really anal. And when I say anal, I mean particular, nitpicky, want to be conservative, but it's not really conservative. It's really holistic, but it's so nitpicky. It's almost as if, like, in that conservative way that expectations just are what they are, and you're expected to meet the mark. Virgo wants you to do that, but they want you to go about it holistically. Like, what the fuck, actually? And so what this means is, for me anyways, and what I've noticed is that a lot of Gemini risings were tormented in their childhood. It's almost like the gift of perfectionism was passed down to you through your bloodline or lineage. You want things to be, you want in game to be a certain way. You want your mental to be of a certain level of groundedness. You want to be able to live a life I guess that society accepts, but you understand society is bullshit. So you know you got to find your own way to get there. And let me tell you, it's really hard to reinvent the wheel, ladies and gentlemen. This might go over a lot of people's heads, but Gemini risings tend to have an air of nervousness to them. And I think that it stems from this Virgo fourth house. It's like the people who raised you were high anxiety. People who might have created a life for themselves to where they can uphold appearances, but on the inside, it's not a stable foundation at all. They're very self-conscious, so they pass that self-conscious gene on to you. I'm sorry, I'm getting really hot. Like so hot talking about this right now. But they pass that subconscious gene onto you, or self-conscious gene onto you, and so you tend to internalize a lot of what goes on outside with you in the world. You might not feel like you have a family to come home to really talk your shit through with. You really need to get connected with God. Like think Kanye. Think Kanye, ladies and gentlemen. Kanye, I don't think that he has a Gemini rising. I think his rising might be like, I don't know what his rising is. I know his moon is Pisces, his sun is rising. But what we see of him, because he's a star, he's illuminated. So we can see his Gemini more than you might see a Gemini like me. It was just in the rising sign. Anyway, what we see of him is, motherfuckers call him crazy every day. They've tried to discredit this man. They've tried to 5150 this man. Do you hear me? They've tried to put him in a conservatorship just like Britney Spears because of his genius. Because he's not believing what society is telling him just because society is telling it to him. But it ends up coming out in this kilted left. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a weird, it's distorted almost, the way that it hits people, because I'll tell you why. It's because as a society, we're not looking in the mirror. We're fucked up. And so when a person that's connected to God, the God in them, he makes he calls himself Yay. That's like Yeshua. That's like he's calling himself, just like Jay-Z called himself Hova, Jehovah. They're two different people. Let's not talk about Jay-Z, right? Kanye, I believe, has a more pure connection to the divinity. But and I think that speaks to the Gemini. I don't want to get lost here, but that Virgo is what makes it so that, and Virgo always sits on the axis. It squares Gemini. So we want him to fit into this perfect ass box, but he's never going to fit into the box because God didn't create us to fit into the box. We created the box. If anything, the box belongs to the devil. We shouldn't be trying to fit into the box. We should be looking for the patterns in this shit and trying to figure out, how does this all go together? How can I influence it? And so Gemini risings, because of that Virgo in the mind, get very caught up in the working of things, in the how of things. It can cause them to be overthinkers. It can cause them to be a little bit more nervous than a normal person. Home life might have appeared to be structured, but again, there was that level of it had to be perfect, and nobody was really there to teach you how to be perfect. There's just, the expectation was just there. A high focus on rules and responsibility, but again, anybody that understands God is kind of like, how do I want to put this? You got to understand divine law. That's what I'm trying to say. The rules that I'm speaking of are governed by divine law. And so you learn to be analytical and you learn to problem solve the way God wants you to, not the way man wants you to. Hold on one second. Yo, is my window frozen shut? I'm so hot. It's like I could burn up. I could melt right now. Ooh, I'm so hot. But yeah, so that's where it gets a little complicated, right? Because it's like, we are the communicators of the zodiac. And this video is going to go over 20. Sorry, Gemini risings, or you're welcome, Gemini rising. I don't know. But yeah, that's where it gets a little dicey, because people don't always understand we live in this realm that is ruled by duality. Geminis, they can speak and channel so easily because they're connected directly to the mouth of God. They understand two things can be true at one time. They understand things cancel things out. They just understand the equation of the universe. And Virgo being in our psyche, is the reason why we can see the patterns the way that we can see them. We can respect the rules and the laws that a lot of people don't respect. They try to create these man-made rules and these man-made laws, and it's like, that's not really the way to salvation, my nigga. Like, you might win for a little bit or win the admiration of these people, but when it comes to your peace and your heart, you're not gonna have any, because you're not connected to, you're not grounded in your divine guidance system, whatever that system is. Hold on one second. Okay. So, home life, yeah. Family may have emphasized education, organization, or self-improvement. Again, giving you those tools in the early childhood to be able to understand this landscape, but also a person can only take you but so far with those things. So when it comes to like self-development, self-improvement, what was the other thing? Organization, education. Those are all the ways that they indoctrinate us. And so I think with the Gemini rising, we tend to make our own minds up about those things. And because of that, especially with the self improvement, because only you know the struggles that you've been through, only you know your early childhood psychology, only you know how it was growing up in your home and how you've internalized those things. And so we tend to be masters of self. And if people would look to us to understand what it is that we're doing, they can master themselves too. But a lot of times they look at it and they're like, I can't explain that. I've never seen that. Nobody in my life has ever shown me that. So I'm gonna deem it as crazy. But I think that y'all will start to understand the more time goes on what Kanye is on, and the fellow Gemini of the world, why they continue to reach levels of success, even though the shit looks crazy. It looks wild, but they're onto something for real. And they may have, oh, this is where the nervousness comes through. We may have struggled with perfectionism or criticism. So even think like with self-improvement, a lot of people look to religion to be the tool that they use to reach success with that. But a lot of times they get confused in that religion, because religion is also one of the ways that they indoctrinate us, right? So, but you don't want to be criticized for not being a Christian, or criticized for leaving the church, or whatever it is that really kind of fucks with your mental. It fucks with your mental. And it makes it so that you have to create your own ideas about stuff in order to feel grounded in who you are, so that you can be proud enough to live the life you want to live. Like, but that criticism, that perfectionism, when I tell y'all, is so fucking real until we decide, like, oh, wait a minute, that's not all there is. On the other end of that spectrum, I could just break free. I can still believe in God. I can still go to church. I can still get my kids baptized. I can still do the whole thing, but I'm allowed to make my own mind up about how things work. I'm allowed to have my own relationship with God. What do you mean? And when I get that close to him, I can really ask him questions and see him and understand him on a totally different. I don't have to take it from another person. I don't have to take it from an authority figure. But again, that journey, nobody can tell you how to navigate that. Nobody can tell you how to. You can look to other people to see, all right, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do. But even then, everything ain't for everybody. So something another person might try might make them crash and burn, and it could take you all the way to glory, you know? So, but I will also say Gemini risings tend to have a very rich home life. And like when you go into their house, they have hella knickknacks that'd be like, what is this? What is that? What are you doing? Like if somebody were to come in and just see these charts, they'd be like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, you don't get it. And it's okay for you not to get it, because it's not for you. And I didn't necessarily even want to share that with you. This is my personal space where I have all the shit that makes me light up, right? So like even my bookshelf, people come in and steal my books all the time because they're like, I would have never thought to pick this up. Well, get into yourself a little more. All right, next. Seventh house of relationships. Sagittarius is in that seventh house. Gemini, yeah. Now this, I'm not gonna hold you. It kind of throws me a little bit because Gemini Sagittarius energy is very similar. I think compared to some of the other sister signs or signs that share the same spectrum, they're so similar. Geminis tend to hate Sagittarius. Sagittarius tend to not like Geminis very much. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really like Sagittarius. What I will say is I realize that we're so much alike that we're different. Like both very excitable people, both very calculated people, both love to communicate, love to banter, love to play around with their communication and kind of say things in a way that's, I don't know, is it esoteric? Is it like, if you know type shit, you know? But because of that, I'm like, how are we opposites? But I get it. I just feel like we're the same but different. Like Gemini likes to travel. Okay, let me say it like this. Seventh house is what we attract in partnerships and also the type of partner that we are. So we're attracting the Sagittarius energy and we're also very much that energy. So like Sagittarius would be very ambitious, loving to travel, loving to understand new concepts and ideas. They want to understand the whole of the society, the whole of the world. They don't care so much about individual, even though they thrive in that individual space because they've seen so much. Nothing shocks them, nothing surprises them. They like to be. That's the difference. They like to be in these different spaces and be a part of different things to the point where they gain these experiences, and that's their, like, that's what satiates them in life. For Gemini, we like to think. That's the difference. We don't so much like to do all the shit that Sagittarius would do. We don't. Like, Sagittarius will backpack to a different country and go have dinner with the person they sat next to on the plane just because they invited me to dinner, and why not? Gemini would be more like, what? Where do you live? Like, let's talk a little bit more. Let me get to know you a little bit better. Or at least throw some shit your way and see what you do with it before I just go to your house and act like everything is all cool. Like, you could actually be a serial killer. I don't actually know where I am. So, like, if I don't have that level of familiarity, I'm going to proceed with caution. Whereas Sagittarius is a little bit more balls to the wall. Sagittarius is much more risky. But again, we can attract this in our relationships. We can also be this way. So we tend to be very optimistic partners. We're the type of partners that want to take a person and show them some shit they've never seen before. We can be very freedom loving. We love when people are just them. We don't really want to put you in a jail cell. We want, like, if we're looking for a serious relationship, we want it to be serious. We're going to want to communicate about that, though, and talk about the terms and conditions. Because serious to me might not be serious to you. You understand? We might have two different standards when it comes to that type of thing. Relationships definitely thrive off of mental stimulation. I need an intelligent partner. If not intelligent, at least be experienced. At least have something to bring to the table that I have maybe haven't seen before or hadn't contemplated before. Gear me up to start something, to do something new, and to just give me an opportunity to exercise a different part of my personality that I might not, tap into on an everyday basis. We do not like when our partners are too structured or too like lovey-dovey for no reason. Now, if we're actually in love, oh, dote on me, baby. Do it. Do it, baby. But if we're not there and it's like, like a Cancer, they want you to be all in at the very beginning. You like me, I like you. Oh, we're life of our dreams. It's like, you don't even know yourself. What are we talking about, life of your dreams? Like, what does that even mean to you? And how do you know that that's the life of my dreams too? Because it's probably not. But and we value independence. We're also really about growth. That's another thing that Sagittarius and Gemini really share, is that growth mindset. I didn't talk about this at first, but we have the mutable cross. Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces is the last sign I'm getting ready to talk about. But because we have the mutable signs that sit on our angles, that means that we can be very adaptable, very changeable. We like new energy. We like turning the page, turn that bitch. Like, this is stale. Let's go to something different, So in that way, Sagittarius can be a really good partner to just keep up with us. Again, though, we have such similar values and such similar dispositions. A lot of times that either really, really works or it's too much of a good thing. It's like somebody's got to be the grounded one. Somebody's got to be the practical one. Somebody's got to be the authority here, or at least, like, let's be both be our own authority. Like, that shit has to balance out on a different level, or it will get very up in the air and gaseous and just like, oh, it was here and then it went away. All right, last house that we're going to talk about, 10th house, is in Pisces. The 10th house is over public reputation. Now, now, I'm saying this from my own Gemini rising perspective, and I need a sip on this one. Okay. People be having us fucked up. They have us fucked up. They don't understand. They shun what they don't understand. The dynamicism of a Gemini rising is some shit a lot of people have never seen, never fathomed, and will never experience again. Because of that, our 10th house is where it's like the highest point of our chart. It's our reputation. It's where we fall in line in the society. Pisces, if y'all know anything about Pisces, Pisces is where things go to die. Pisces is the last house. It's the house that talks about undoing. It's the last house where it's like, all right, if the zodiac wheel is the human experience and Aries is the baby where you're born, Pisces is our entry into the next realm. You cannot define Pisces, really. It's everything, everywhere, all at once. And I'm already a talkative, dynamic, youthful, fairy-looking motherfucker who overthinks things and has a better understanding of life and God than a lot of people ever will, who loves relationships that are a little bit off kilter or not traditional. Non-traditional would be the word, the term I would use. And so, of course, the way people see me is going to be like, they don't know what the fuck they're looking at. They don't know what they're looking at, okay? The gift of Pisces is that it has the energy of every other sign before it. It's just latent. It's kinetic energy. It's not being used actively. You have to activate it, and you have to wear it, and you have to activate it. So with that being said, for me, and I'm not going to tell y'all my age, but I'm still living. I've lived so many lifetimes. I've taken on so many identities, personas. Not to say that any of them were not me, were not fake, but or were fake, but they are parts of me, not the totality. So when people think, oh yeah, I worked with her, I know her. No, the fuck you don't. No, you don't. You knew that version of me when we worked together in that setting. And you knew the version of me that thought, you knew who I thought it was best to be in that situation. Because I'm so adaptable, right? And I can look around and see what all you motherfuckers lack and be like, okay, this is what time it is. Got it. Let me kick into this gear. And then, of course, over time, you start to get good at that gear. People start to see you like that. They associate you with that gear, and they start throwing you shit that's in line with that gear. You start, you know what I'm saying? You get over a certain shit with that gear, and it be like, that's her. No, it's not. No, it's not. I don't think that people will truly understand the totality of who I am until my life's work is complete. And it gives me Tupac. It gives Tupac. That nigga lived so many different lives. From the moment he was born into the Black Panther Party, you get what I'm saying, to you die cosplaying as a gangster rapper, my nigga. And we were fooled. We were all fooled. We thought you were gangster of the year, my baby, until people had to come out and be like, that was just but one facet. And Tupac was a Pisces. And so I do think that it's easy for Pisces energy. So wherever Pisces is, it's easy for you to get lost in that sauce. But when you know who you are, and I tend to have, I've got some pretty prominent placements there. If you know how to work that Pisces, you can really turn it on and be the embodiment of whatever energy you need. I would encourage y'all to work with the other aspects in your chart that make aspects to Pisces, because that's going to make it real. You get what I mean? My Capricorn and my Pisces link up. They like, what's up? We can come together and make that shit happen. Yeah. But if I was trying to go into a sign, I don't have Cancer or some shit, I don't know nothing about no Cancer. I don't know nothing about it. So if I'm trying to act all cancery, it's going to come off. It's going to be like, oh, she did do, but it's not going to hit. It's not going to resonate. So that would be my tidbit for those of you who have Gemini risings, who have that Pisces in your 10th house, who are trying to like establish themselves. First of all, you're going to have to do something that is heart-centered. And really, it starts with that Virgo. You need to get down into the nitty gritty of what you care about and the shit that you know. What do you know? In order to project it into that Pisces, because Pisces needs to be able to flow on a foundation, right? And so you're going to start with that Virgo, but then you're also going to look to any other planets or aspects or asteroids in your chart that feed into that Pisces energy. And that's what you're going to have to play off of to really make that Pisces prominent, because Pisces can get lost. And I'll tell you this as well. In my career pursuits, there have been, I'll just say it to you like this. High vibe is something that I'm constantly working on. I'm not always putting things out about it because I'm more focused. I was more focused on my outward career, whatever the fuck you want to call it. People will give you a lot more respect when you focus on those outward things. And I don't even think I'm saying this right. I don't think I'm saying this right. What I'm saying is you'll gain traction quicker when you do what I just told you. It's not always going to feel right. So you got to do the work to actually realize what your feeling is charged by. And then you start building on that. And that will give you the longevity that you look for, that you're looking for. I hope that that helped. Listen, we're going to cut it short because I'm already 10 minutes over on y'all video because I love y'all so much and because this is my natal placement. Like, I had to show some extra love. But if you would like an in-depth reading on your chart and you want to know exactly how your planets work together to synthesize, to create whatever energies are available to you, you will have to get a birth chart reading. You can go down to the link below in order to get that. It's a Zoom in person. We do this. We does this, okay? Furthermore, I only wanted to go over those 4 houses because y'all see, it took me 30 minutes just to talk about those 4 houses. But I am interested in giving you guys a more in-depth breakdown of the entire chart, going through each of the houses to talk to you about what a Gemini's chart actually looks like. That will more than likely be posted on another platform. I will make an announcement once that series comes out. But please feel free to like this video, share this video to anybody that you think would like to know more about a Gemini rising. Comment down below to let me know what you thought of the video and just to give me, to keep the discourse going. I love to talk with you guys and see you guys talking to each other in the comments. Really good discourse going on there. And until next time, see y'all later. Bye.